faux lock was cursed, and Bigfoot's place became a legend, a name whispered in fear. Nobody dared go there. It had once been a thriving settlement, with a school and a post office, and it could have grown into a full-fledged city if it had continued prospering. But something sinister lurked in its shadows. People began disappearing, one after another, vanishing without a trace. Bodies were found mutilated, blood trails stopped suddenly, and the village was abandoned, leaving behind only fear and chilling questions. A small village in Alaska became an empty ghost town after something terrifying unfolded. What exactly happened? What was lurking in the dense wilderness, preying upon the residents? Join us as we unravel one of the most disturbing and mysterious cases of a beast so dangerous that it wiped out an entire town. This is the dark and horrifying tale of Portlock, Alaska, where Bigfoot isn't just a myth, it's a nightmare. The story goes back to 1785 when a British captain named Nathaniel Portlock stumbled upon the area. His crew found the remnants of an abandoned native village. One burning question plagued them: why would anyone abandon such a resource-rich land? As they tried to settle, crew members started dropping like flies. A strange sickness swept through them, fear gripped their minds, and eventually, the crew begged the captain to leave. And so they did. But here's where it gets even stranger. 6 years earlier, Spanish explorers had visited the same location, and they, too, suffered from mysterious illnesses, heard unsettling cries from the forest, and fled in terror. Was it a coincidence? Or was something sinister guarding this land, driving people away? The terror never left. A century later, in 1867, the Shukpiak people, a nomadic native community, attempted to settle in Portlock. The land was rich, the hunting plentiful, and everything seemed perfect. But then the horrors began. The people spoke of cannibal giants, monstrous, half-human, half-beast creatures called the Nanak. These terrifying beings weren't just hunters of animals, they hunted humans, too. Towering figures covered in dark fur, their immense strength made them unstoppable killing machines. The Shukpiak tried to fight back, but after relentless attacks, they had no choice but to abandon Portlock, leaving behind chilling stories of unimaginable brutality. Fast forward to 1921, when a new group of settlers arrived, determined to break the curse of Portlock. They built a cannery, a school, and a post office. To protect themselves, they enforced strict rules: no wandering into the foggy woods, a mandatory curfew, and armed patrols. At first, things seemed peaceful. The town thrived for nearly a decade, and people started to believe that the horrors of the past were nothing more than old folklore. But then, in 1931, something happened that reignited their worst fears. A logger named Andrew Camlock ventured too deep into the forest. He never came back, at least, not alive. When his friends found him, the scene was straight out of a horror movie. His head had been crushed with inhuman force. His sled was flung far from his body, and his dogs had been torn apart. The brutality of the attack was beyond what any known predator could do. It was something else, something monstrous. The terror escalated. Residents began disappearing at an alarming rate. Hunters, loggers, and prospectors ventured into the woods, never to return. When their bodies were found, they were mutilated beyond recognition, with deep claw marks that defied logic. Skeptics blamed bears, but the locals knew better. They had seen the footprints, massive, human-like, far larger than anything a bear could leave behind. Some of these prints measured over 18 inches, far beyond the capabilities of any known creature in the Alaskan wilderness. By 1950, the terror reached a boiling point. 36 residents had gone missing. The strict rules meant to protect them no longer worked. Fear gripped the community so tightly that they abandoned Portlock almost overnight. Homes were left fully furnished, businesses were deserted, as if everyone had simply vanished into thin air. The last person to leave was the postmaster, who later confessed that he had heard heavy, two-legged footsteps outside his barricaded office at night. That was his final warning. He fled, and the village of Portlock was left to rot, forever cursed. Decades later, in the 1970s, a group of hunters sought shelter in the abandoned village during a storm. That night, something circled their camp, growling and making noises that were unnervingly human-like. The next morning, they discovered massive 18-inch footprints in the snow. A moose carcass had been dragged away, leaving behind signs of a violent struggle. They knew they weren't alone. They didn't wait to find out what it was. Even in modern times, the legend of Portlock persists. In 1990, a paramedic in Anchorage had a chilling encounter with a 70-year-old Alushic elder who had suffered a heart attack. The paramedic casually mentioned Portlock, and the elder's reaction was pure terror. He grabbed the paramedic's shirt and demanded to know if he had seen it. The fear in his voice was unmistakable, a reminder that the horrors of Portlock were not just stories. They were real. Skeptics argue that the disappearances in Portlock can be attributed to natural causes, bears, infrasound, or even natural disasters. Some scientists suggest that infrasound, low-frequency vibrations that humans can't hear but can feel, could be to blame. This phenomenon causes nausea, dizziness, and an overwhelming sense of dread. Predators like tigers and whales use it to disorient their prey. Could an unknown predator in Portlock have used infrasound to terrify and drive people away? Others believe that the disappearances were caused by a cryptid, a creature known as the Nanak. This creature, often compared to Bigfoot or the Yeti, appears in legends worldwide. Unlike other cryptids, the Nanak wasn't just a wandering being, it was a predator. It actively hunted the people of Portlock. Some researchers theorize that it could belong to an undiscovered species, perhaps a relic population of early hominids or an unknown primate. Strange sounds still echo through the woods of Portlock. The legend of the cannibal giant lives on. Over the years, Portlock has become a magnet for cryptozoologists, paranormal enthusiasts, and adventurers seeking the truth. Documentaries, podcasts, and online forums continue to buzz with theories. Is it all just folklore, a cautionary tale blown out of proportion? Or is there something lurking in the Alaskan wilderness that defies explanation? The truth about Portlock may never fully come to light. But whether it's a cryptid, a myth, or a mix of both, the story serves as a chilling reminder of humanity's vulnerability in the face of the unknown. Portlock isn't just a ghost town, it's a question mark that refuses to fade away. Please like, share, subscribe and comment. Thank you for watching my channel.